we are so excited. We have an absolutely wonderful show ahead of you today because we are so honored to be joined by Jon Grilz from The Creepy Pod. Jon, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Eh, Thank you for having me. I really love you guys' show. It's really great to be on here.
That's like really crazy anytime we hear people say that because we're like, wait, you love us? We love you. What is going on right
You're a
now?
professional. We're like the losers we're Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I started out as a loser just like the rest of you. I just stuck with it long enough for people to pay me.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's
That
the
is
dream.
the key to it all. Oh my goodness, Jon, we are super excited. Yeah, we've been in contact with you for a while and have just been admiring you from afar. We were able to collaborate over the summer, and we're super excited to talk to you not only about Creepy Pod but also 31 Days of Halloween, which Halloween's right around the corner, which is insane. But for anyone that's not familiar with Creepy Pod, or anyone that's not familiar with Jon Grilz, can you give us a little bit about your background, how we got to Creepy Pod? Because it truly is a wonderful and unique perspective that obviously a lot of people love.
Yeah, I mean, the abridged version, the least windy, full of tangent version that I'll do my best to your listeners not have to listen to, is, you know, I think it started oddly enough with a Watch Mojo video
Mm.
where
Mm.
Watch it was Watch Mojo top 10 creepypastas. And at the time, and this was probably 12, 13 years ago or something when I first saw it. And at the time, I was like all of my neighbors are now and saying, "What's a creepypasta?"
Mm.
To which I was like, "Okay, we'll check it out." And they did the top 10 list, and it was all the classics. It was No End House and, you know, Jeff the Killer and Russian Sleep Experiment and Ted the Caver. And I was like, well, this sounds interesting. I'd never heard any of these before. Like, and I didn't quite get it either because I love No Sleep. I still love No Sleep. They're still one of my all-time favorite podcasts. But I was like, but that doesn't sound like what they do. So I tried looking up those stories, and they weren't there. And I ended up going up on YouTube, and I found a Ted the Caver narration. And it was very, very basic, especially at the time. It sounded like someone had just recorded it on their laptop, very echoey, very read, not performed, anything like that. But Ted the Caver is a great story, and it's actually a real story for people. Like the guy who wrote it is 90% of it he did. Like he was a caver. He did go through all this, and they did burst through into this tunnel, into this room, and everything. He just made the ending to be like a creepy pasta. So the reason why there's so many photographs and why it really built the world of creepypastas around having kind of these mysterious photographs, like the expressionless is a good example. Um, that there used to be pictures involved, so you could kind of get drawn in even more. Like, ooh, there's photo evidence that this is real, you know. And but the story was just kind of fascinating, and I was like, well, this is really cool. And then I forgot about it for like 2 years or 3 years, and I got into audio drama another through another avenue, and I started working at a job, and I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to Ted the Caver in a long time. I want to listen to it. So I pulled it up on YouTube, but my office had a firewall. So I
Oh.
couldn't listen, I couldn't watch or listen to YouTube. Like, oh, that sucks. And about maybe a month down the line, I was like, well, why aren't creepypastas on any podcasts? Like, these are popular stories. Why don't they exist? Like, but any horror narration podcast that I could find, they just didn't do them. I was like, well, if it doesn't exist, maybe I should do it. And I did it. It was 100% selfish. I just wanted the stories to exist. Not that I wanted to listen to my own voice as much as I was like, well, these stories should be out there. They should be on a podcast. And my idea was that I was just going to run it. I did it for a while. I had a lot of help in the audio drama community, helping with production or producing it and things like that. And I got really burnt out on work and podcasting and family and everything else. And I was going to quit. And that's when I came up with the idea of the 31 Days of Horror, because there's still quite a few stories I hadn't done, but I was just done. I was burnt out. I was just exhausted. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what. I've never heard of anyone doing 31 days in a row of podcasts. I mean, now there's probably people who do them every single day, and it's not that big of a deal. But I was like, okay, we'll do a special event, 31 days in a row, and I'll be done. Well, about halfway through, Bloody Disgusting contacted me. And they're like, hey, we like your podcast. Do you want to be a part of this network that we're building? And I was like, yeah, because you're Bloody Disgusting, of course. Why?
Of course.
Like, first of all, why are you talking to me? Like, this is really weird. And yeah, of course. And then I didn't really think much of it. It was like, that's cool. It sounds like a great idea, but who knows? Like, there was no money in it at the time. And I lost my job about 2 weeks after October ended. So I was like, well, I've been laid off before. That's fine. But I know I go a little stir crazy if I don't have something to focus on. So I did 31 days of stories in a row. And then I did another 42, which I called the bad days because it was literally for my mental health to just focus on something. And then I switched over to Patreon, and a bunch of people followed for the feed because they're like, oh, he's making content. Cool. And the fact that people paid to listen, like, it blew me away. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see where this goes. We'll just play with this for a little while. And then at some point, we'll be done. People will get tired of me and it'll be done. And now it's been like 9 years. So I can't, and now it's my full-time job. So I definitely can't complain.
Yeah. You love to hear that, though, especially for like everybody who wants to do a podcast. Or, you know, the joke is like, oh, well, everybody, when you're 30, you have credit card debt and a podcast, and it's like, yeah, whatever. So, you know, and a lot of our comments and stuff are just like, wow, they let anybody make podcasts, and it's like, well, yeah. Like, actually, it's pretty easy, and it's crazy to me because so many people give up before 100 episodes. I think it's like
way
90%.
before. And congratulations on you guys hitting 300, by the way.
Hey,
like,
thank you.
That's
Thank you.
Like that. If nobody else has told you too, do you know what the average number of podcast episodes a podcast puts out before they quit is?
I bet Tony's got a good guess.
I'm gonna honestly, I'll say 10.
It's 5.
Yeah, it's really low.
It's 5. There's over 5 million podcasts that have shown up on iTunes. There was 1 million before COVID. There's 5 million now.
Oh.
And on average, they hit 5.
Yeah.
So the fact that you guys stuck with it for 300, believe me, that deserves its own commendation. Like, especially because I'm sure you see feedback and, well, like that. Like, oh, anyone can listen. Like, yeah, and
Yeah.
and I'm guessing you do it because it makes you happy, right? You enjoy it. It makes you laugh. You're talking about something you love.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you hear people like, oh, there's too many podcasts. No, there aren't. You don't. First of all, you're not listening to them all anyway. So what do you care? If people are having fun and not hurting other people, let them have fun.
There you go.
The world is a dumpster fire. Have fun.
Dude, put that on a t-shirt. Let's start selling it. And I know we usually wait till the end to be like, hey, what do you want? Like, what's your message you want to tell everybody? But I just want to say that, like, us doing 300, like, thank you so much for saying that. And that is huge. And we really, really take that seriously. And for someone like you who's done it for so many years and, I mean, literally just said, started with an idea, why the hell not? And to where you're at now, like, I don't know what you consider, like, making it. I mean, is that, like, doing it full time where you didn't have to do other jobs? Or because the point I'm trying to make is how long did it take for you to get to that point when you were like, okay, I can do this? Because a lot of people do give up. They think, I'm just a drop in the bucket. There's way too many people doing this. Like, what kind of advice could you give to those people that are looking to start up? Because I think you're right. Everybody should do a podcast. Just like everybody should stream. Like, put your voice out there. Be unique.
Well, to those people, I would say that was me too. I mean, granted, I started podcasting a decade ago, and I thought it was too late. I was like, there's too many podcasts. No one's gonna care about my voice. No one's gonna care about what I'm saying. And but I did it because I wanted to do it. And that's the biggest tip in podcasting for me. Do it until you don't want to do it anymore. Like, when it stops being fun, like, that's a pretty good indicator that maybe this just isn't for you. But if you're having fun, monetarily or not, like, that is success, right? Like, in this day and age, if you can find something that makes you smile and you're having fun doing it, like, that is success. Now, we'll take a step back from the Tony Robbins approach of, like, gross positivity, and just, it's important, I think, for people to keep in mind that the bar always moves. So when I first started doing podcasting, I started in audio drama, and my goal was, if I could make as much that I make it my day job, then I'm going to quit my day job and I'm just going to podcast. And it took quite a while to get there. I mean, it took probably 5 years to get there, which is also a reasonably short amount of time. I've been very, very fortunate in the support that I'm able to get and the number of episodes and everything I've been able to do. But once I hit that point, then I was like, well, I've been doing my job at the same time that I'm doing this. So why don't I keep doing my job and essentially make twice as much money, right? So it really wasn't until it was probably it was oddly, well, when quarantine happened, download numbers went up, right? People had a lot more time. They didn't have as much money, so Patreon wasn't great, but people were listening, and that translates into like ad dollars, which wasn't really a thing when I started. There weren't a lot of avenues for ads, and now, depending on your hosting site, dynamic ads are automatic. Like you can start making, it might not be a lot, but you can start making money pretty quickly. And it wasn't so I probably hit the point where I could have just done it full time in quarantine, but my wife left her job because we got kids and the distance learning and everything else. So I'm like, okay, I probably shouldn't leave my job and health insurance to talk in a microphone all day. So it was about 3 years ago is when I finally was like, you know what? I got to a point in my job where I'm like, I'm not really paying attention anymore. And I was in project management, and that's not a good thing when you're trying to like get especially medical devices across the finish line. It's like, I should probably step back and like let people who are way more committed to this than I do it. And yeah, and I've been doing it full time ever since. But success that's honestly a tough answer, because there are still times I don't feel successful. My imposter syndrome hits the moment my eyes open in the morning.
Dude, oh my God, seriously, that's us.
And I also understand that someone like me who's been able to do this full time and have a full crew and work with Bloody Disgusting and do the things I've been able to do, people roll their eyes and want to punch me in the face if they heard something like that. Like, I get it, but it kind of never leaves you. It's always, and you know, and there's always people out there ready to knock you down. There's always someone out there like, that episode sucked, or I hate his voice. Like, well, I got one. All right, I don't. It's what I got. If you don't like it, just don't listen. There's so many other ones.
No one's making you listen to it, dude.
Yeah, people. Well, you know, people. When people don't feel good, they don't want other people to feel better, unfortunately, and they want to lower everyone's bar, and which really sucks, and which is usually why. Usually when I'm the most positive, I'm mentally in the worst place, because I don't want people to feel the way I feel when I'm not in a good place. It's like, that's when I want to reach out to creators and be like, you know, send a DM to some podcast or podcaster. It's like, hey, I love that episode. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Just because it's like, I want your day not to feel as bad as mine. And so even when you hit what you think is success, you're still going to have those days. And it's okay, because it doesn't go away. There's no finish line. There's no, if I do this, everything's perfect, right? Like when I was still trying to be a writer, I was like, okay, if I finish a book, then everything's going to be good. I'll be good. And then, then you finish the book and you're like, okay, if I get an agent, then everything's going to be good. And then I got an agent. And then I was like, okay, if I get published, then everything will be good. And I didn't get published because it wasn't a good book. But so I pulled back. But it kind of made me realize, like, we're always, I don't know, like, we're always judging ourselves against other people, right? Like, if I had their life, if I had their download numbers, if I had their money, if I had their whatever, my life would be better. And it's like, but it wouldn't. It would just be different, right? Like, it's like when you ever have those days where you're having a terrible day and then you hear terrible news on the radio or whatever, and you think, oh my God, why am I acting this way when I'm having a bad day?
Literally
but their lives are
every day.
Yeah, but their lives are hard. But you can't judge it on merit, because it is a bad day for you. And just because someone has it worse doesn't mean you're not having a bad day. Like, your emotions are still valid. Like,
Absolutely.
it just because some poor kids don't have access to clean drinking water doesn't mean that because you're worried that like you can't get all the groceries you want, like that's not equally valid. Like it is absolutely equally valid. Or if your dog is sick and you have no idea what they don't because they haven't learned to talk, even though you keep telling them to learn how to talk so you would know what's wrong with them. You wouldn't have to spend so much money at the vet.
Someday it's gonna happen. You better watch out. The dog's gonna be like, "Hey, man."
I'm waiting for it to be like the frog in a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and you're standing up on two legs. Exactly.
Like Nibbler from Futurama.
Exactly. Yeah, just a really like beautiful, deep, like James Earl Jones type voice. Like I'll bring it up. So it's tough. I think success is, to me, success is living a life with as few regrets as possible.
Mhm.
And because there's really nothing else to judge it against. So it's more like if I wanted, which is why I podcasted. I would rather podcast and fail than be that person 10 years down the line that said, why didn't I try?
Mhm.
You know, failure absolutely sucks, but regret is so much worse because you can't get rid of regret. Regret's just stuck inside of you. So it's like, if
And
you
it's
want
like
a
that thing
podcast,
too, where it's like
podcast.
you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I had no idea. I did not think that I could find any level of success doing this. I did not believe it. I thought it was too late. There was no chance. I was like, there's bigger names. And this was even before all the celebrities really got into podcasting. You know, the big names were, you know, Chris Hardwick and Kevin Smith and Joe Rogan and Bill Burr. And that was, and Adam Carolla. And that was kind of it for like the big celebrity names. And now it's everybody, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you get in an interview on Nashville, like saying something completely unexpected, and all of a sudden you have a massive podcasting deal or something, even if you may or may not have anything to say. It's just the way the world works.
Like the Haktua girl.
Well, I wasn't going to call her out, but if you want to.
I call everybody out.
Brian doesn't work in subtleties, okay? Like, you can say Nashville, but he's going to call it Haktua.
I would say screw Taylor Swift, she sucks.
Okay. Well, anyways,
All
before
right,
the
easy
Swifties...
now.
Before the Swifties come after us, I think you are definitely a testament to you saw something that you loved and you're like, you know what, I want to pursue it. I'm going to see what happens. And creepypasta is something that even if people don't know horror, they know what a creepypasta is, you know? And the fact that you've been able to put it in the audio medium, why do you think it has had such that, like, why do you think people gravitate towards creepypastas and urban legends and things of that nature? Maybe even if they're not fully into horror or know that world.
Yeah, I think it's, without sounding too philosophical or whatever, I think it's kind of just in our blood. I think it's in our DNA. We're storytellers. We're all storytellers. Some of us are really bad storytellers, and some of us are really good storytellers. Some of us can't get to like the finish line once we start a story, but it happens. But sitting around a campfire, right? Like, or people that were in caves, or it doesn't matter. We've always told stories. We have an oral tradition, like as people. Like it's how we communicate. It's how we bond. So as that evolved into ghost stories and as it evolved into urban legends and everything else, the creepypasta was just the evolution into the digital medium, right? And the beauty of it, especially early on, and it's a feel that's very, very hard to capture to this day because it was so raw. It was so amateur. Like these were not polished stories. These were not well written, well researched, grammatically correct, any of that. Some of them are brutal. Jeff the Killer is a brutal story to read. It's hard. It sounds like it's written by like a 16-year-old, and I think the original version might have been. But Jeff the Killer is still one of the most famous creepypastas. My son got a Jeff the Killer costume for Halloween, despite the fact that I said no Jeff the Killer. And he's Jeff the Killer this year. So I think it's just a kind of that for all the kids that grew up online, right? Like this was their opportunity. They might have not been sitting around a campfire nearly as much. They might have been online talking to people over headphones or in chat boxes or on forums or whatever. And that's where their scary stories came from. And that's where the tales came from. and being able to put it into an audio form is just kind of combining those two worlds. So we still have our ghost stories, we still have our campfire stories, and we can just, for a little while, we can just depart all the crap that's outside and just be a little spooked, a little curious, like a little whatever. But it's just that nice little departure that it's just a digital campfire.
I don't know if maybe it's just me, but I also think maybe people's fascination, because it's my fascination, is just like, what if? Like, what if? Because if you put yourself in their shoes and you do see something, you go, I can't explain it. I have no idea. That is 100% true to me. This happened. I felt it. I experienced it. You guys don't have to believe me at all, but I know for a fact. And it's sad because think about the millions and millions of all kinds of weird sightings. If one of those is true, it changes everything we know about human existence. If one person has seen aliens or a monster that should not exist, it changes reality. So is it like, is every single millions of people, like every one of them is wrong? Like, I think it's just the fact that there's just that little bit of mystery of like, well, but what if? Kind of like how people will be like, ghosts and demons, that shit don't exist. It's like, oh, well, do you want to do a Ouija seance? They're like, no. Because there's always that
yeah,
chance.
talk to my wife about that one. She won't let me bring my Ouija board out. It's driving me nuts.
Gonna have to like sneak it out like at midnight, like when you're like sneaking into the fridge, you know?
Don't do that, because then don't sneak it, because then she won't know, and it'll like it got there on
that's
its
true.
own.
Okay,
Oh
I
my
do have a
God.
story about that made her a little bit upset at me. So
Let's hear it.
when my grandparents passed, we were cleaning out their house, and my grandma had an old Ouija board. And I was like, cool, I got to bring this home. Like, my office is filled with all kinds of like weird stuff and like haunted blah, blah, blah. But I was like, cool, I got to get a Ouija board, grab it, put it in my office, because it's also a memory of my grandma and like using it when I was a kid. And it just looks cool. But the way our house is set up and the way my office is set up, where my wife sleeps in bed, she basically looks straight down a hall into my office, right where the Ouija board was on the shelf. And I think she laid down that first night and she looked and she goes, no. I was like, what? She's like, you have to move it. I'm like, I will move it. She goes, you better not move it while I'm asleep. If that shows up somewhere else each night, you're in trouble. And I was like, I promise. God, did I want to. I wanted to put it at the foot of the bed so bad that night.
You're a good man.
Don't buddy the elf the Ouija board, okay? Like, because then I think there's gonna be bigger problems if you do that. Oh my gosh. Well, I misspoke earlier. I called it 31 Days of Halloween, but 31 Days of Horror is coming up. And what is so fun is like you were saying, you know, you started off doing daily podcasts, which obviously it's very hard to do, but this is what makes it so special. So we're looking forward to 31 Days of Horror now. Is there any insight that you can give us of what people can expect or what's around the corner?
You know, if you've heard the show before, if they heard any of your wonderful promotions of our Creepaway camp back in April, it's like that. It's scripted. You know, normally on our Sundays and Wednesdays, you get either 2 or 3 stories that are just our narrations. This is a fully scripted month, so all of the narrators are involved. We have additional voice actors. There's a full script for every single day, including 2 stories every day. I don't necessarily want to give away the secret. We'll just say that we've been having some bad dreams lately, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. Some of us might be doing a lot worse than others. But yeah, no, I hope people like the idea. You know, I kind of try and keep building it every year a little bit more, because it used to just be the stories, and then I was like, oh, let's add a little something fun. Let's do a little script to it. And that's kind of where Creepaway Camp came from. And I've really been digging myself a grave, because it's getting to be a lot. The episodes are there. It's a lot of. I crash pretty hard come November 1st.
Yeah.
But it's also
are
worth
you guys
it.
still recording them, or are they all already ready to
so-
go for October? Like, how long out do you usually record these?
So I start writing and recording usually either late July or early August. We're usually in production into October. So I have everything, like I read a story every day and then my narrators take turns because there's 10 of them. So each of them will read anywhere between, 2 and 4 stories this week, depending on them, or this month. But I have to start out early because my kids also have summer vacation and trying to figure out, like, if I wait until September to get going, my blood pressure is through the roof. I'm the least pleasant person to be around because I'm always just tired, but I'm also thinking about work too much. That is a little thing. If you want to be a full-time podcaster, remember, do what you love and you will never stop working again. I work all the time. I'm always answering emails or talking to my crew or planning or something. It's work. You have to love to do it. Otherwise it's not fun.
It's a lot of
But yeah,
work.
we're hopefully going to have all of production done by about halfway through October.
Nice.
Wow. That is quite the production. We're super excited. We can't wait to hear what, the twists and turns that you have this year. But too, like, you're mentioning, everything is scripted, everything is a story. But I saw too that not only do you guys have absolutely amazing narrators, but people can submit their creepy pastas as well. That's like that is so unique. I think a lot of times people or that love different podcasts or different shows, they submit their stories and there's like, oh, maybe there's a chance it might end up somewhere, but here it's like there's a real chance that you could have your story on CreepyPod. That's amazing.
There's a legit chance. We on our live feed we do 5 stories a week minimum, but then on Patreon we do 4 more. So we have to have 9 stories every single week. And then in October it's even more because we still do the 4 stories a week every week on Patreon. Plus technically we'll do 64 stories in October. So
Damn.
we're
How many people are writing all these stories? Like, oh my God.
we get a lot. It's they
just
kind of
people,
come from
just
anywhere,
everybody's just sending them in, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, we tell them just go creepypod.com/submissions. It's all the submission standards. We pay for every story we accept. Not only do we pay, but the writers keep all the rights. Like, it's not my story. I don't want your story. I don't want to do anything to your story other than read your story.
Wow.
So you sell it to us, cool. All we ask is you wait a few months before you try and sell it to somebody else. But if you want to do an anthology, if you do whatever else you want with it, it's your story. Thank you just for letting us read your words. Because I remember when No Sleep did one of my stories, like my heart like exploded. It was like, oh my God, you guys thought that I was good enough to be on your show? It's still like, I still think about like how cool that felt. And the fact that I get to do that to this day for other writers is one of those one of those things you don't necessarily think about all the time, and you definitely didn't expect to be a perk of your job. But it can mean the world for someone just to say, I like your words. Like, I like your story and I want people to hear your story. So the fact that we can do that and be able to afford to pay people to do that, like it's a really wonderful aspect of the job.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you? Oh, sorry, Brian. I know you have a. Do you have a question?
I do. I know, like, one more before anything else I gotta ask. So you obviously love creepypastas, which range from anything from serial killers, supernatural, monsters, what is it, SCA, the whole kind of...
SCPs.
SCP, that one.
So SCPs would be my other show, SCP Archives, also available on the Bloody Disgusting podcast.
Boom. Which, if you like weird... See, now this is what I was going to bring up, because I'm a cryptid guy. I love monsters. I love the most creative, weird creature things imaginable. That's my thing. Do you have, like... Are you into cryptids at all? Do you have a favorite cryptid? Do you like that? Or is it more like you like the creepypasta thing kind of separate? Or how do you feel about cryptids?
A lot of the time when I get drawn into cryptids is because of a story. And because there are so many people who love cryptids and are, cryptid zoologists or cryptozoologists or whatever the term is, that they just love them. That's kind of one of those, like, my bandwidth only is so much. But my favorite are skinwalkers. And that's because there's this fantastic creepypasta out there. You can see it on creepypasta.fandom.com. We produced it on the show called Fleshgate. And it's this really great creepypasta about some friends walking through the woods. And all of a sudden, like, there's someone extra. But is there someone extra? But were you there before? And there's actually a movie. Have you ever heard of the movie Headcount?
Yes. And I thought it was a Goatman movie, but this is news to me.
Yeah, Headcount isn't. Headcount is Skinwalkers. And the way they do it in the movie itself is really, really cool because they play it really subtle where it's like, wait a second, weren't you just in the kitchen sort of thing? But like the camera work in it, it's really cool. It's a low budget kind of an indie movie, but it's
What's it
fun.
called
I
again?
love stuff like that. It's called
Headcount.
Headcount from 2018.
So we call them jabronis because we don't want to bring them to to like they say like when you say the word that like it brings them around and
Like
being
Wendigos.
in the like being in the desert, it's like, did we just see a coyote or was that something else? Honestly, it's so crazy having to rifle through so many stories and so many different different perspectives and things like that. Have you ever come across something that you're like, this seems a little too real. Do I need to report this? Or like, has there ever been times where you're like, oh shit, what's going on here?
Well, interesting you bring that up. This recently appeared on a podcast episode. I can't remember the name of the podcast. My story coordinator who helps me with going through submissions knew this writer. There was a writer who we had produced stories for, and I believe they had produced stories on some other well-known podcasts, who is currently on trial for butchering his wife.
What?
And one of the stories that was submitted was basically about like killing and like burying a body.
Oh my god.
And we have since removed those stories because obviously I want nothing to do with this guy.
You're like, our lawyers are not listening, we're not.
It's just like the rappers that have done it to
Holy
themselves. They
shit.
indicted themselves in their songs, and now
Like
they're
that Key and
it's
Peele bit. Yeah.
Oh.
But there are, I mean, we usually kind of draw a line because I'm like, listen, I don't want you I personally don't like stories where bad things happen to kids. It doesn't mean we won't accept them because it's horror, and depending on how it's written, that's fine. I refuse to accept any story that has graphic like sexual assault. Like you don't. First of all, you don't need to. Like
Right.
this story is fiction. Does sexual assault happen? Absolutely. Is it horrifying? Yes, absolute, without question. Is it horror? Yeah. And do we run stories where people have been sexually assaulted? Yes. It's when people exploit. Like you don't need to exploit tragedy to make it scarier. Like it's hacky. It's like you're trying to twist the knife. You're trying to say, look how gross I can be. It's like, yeah, you are being gross. Like you're being really tactless too, because a lot of people listen to horror for catharsis, right? Like, and we do our best with content warnings to at least let people know, like an animal died or there's sexual abuse or child abuse or something like that for the bigger ones that are really tough for people. And sometimes we run a lot of stories and sometimes we're not perfect with that, but we try to be really aware. I used to kind of push back on that. Like, it's horror. Like, why do I need to do a content warning? That's ridiculous. You're supposed to be scared. And then you take a step back and you say, does it hurt me to provide it? It's in my show notes. I'm not telling someone up front, okay, be careful at 5 minutes in because, a dog is going to get run over. I'm not ruining a story. I'm letting people know, hey, if this content upsets you, you skip this story. Or at least know that it's coming at some point. Because just because I haven't experienced that horror in my life doesn't make it less valid. Just because I like to be surprised in horror doesn't mean everybody wants to. Like, some people are there, oddly enough, as you all know, to relax, right? Horror can be very relaxing.
It's entertainment. It's not punishment. It's not we do this for fun. And I just gotta say, because I completely agree with you, like, there's like horror, and then there's like, why did you even do that? I gotta say, the most recent one that just immediately popped into my head, especially when you mentioned, you have to look up, like, does the dog die? Freaking the latest
best friend.
Yeah, the latest
Good Boy.
Conjuring.
Oh, really?
It's not a spoiler in any way,
Oh.
but there is just, for whatever reason, It has no context, absolutely none. They the spirit, the demon, whatever, picks up like their really sweet dog and just throws it against the wall, and it's really sad. And you listen to it and you watch it, and you're like, oh my god, they never go back to it again. The dog's fine, but it's like, well, then at least kill the dog, because now you're a director
In for a
and
penny, in for a
you
pound.
just
Come on.
made the dog get thrown against the wall for zero reason. Was that to make us not like the demon more because you threw a dog against the wall? Like, dude, the whole
At first you're
movie.
like, this demon's alright.
I was like, what
They're like, then it
fuck?
shows the dog. You're like, hell no.
I don't want
I'm
to.
sure you were awake and watching the movie.
I was
Yeah,
so
Brian.
pissed. I was like, why'd they throw the dog? Like, they don't need that. And then it was fine. It was just mean. And I was like, that's dumb. I don't like this.
So there was a director. I don't remember if it was Wes Craven or John Carpenter or Clive Barker. I can't remember. It was a fairly well-known director a while ago. I think somebody had asked, like, why did you kill the dog in whatever movie? Again, I can't remember, so I apologize. It's not the best story. But the gist of it was, because now you know that nobody's safe. If the dog can die, anybody can. Like, because up until the 70s, 80s, whatever, dogs were kind of off limits. Like, you didn't kill animals necessarily. You could kill them in real life to, like, use their blood, or if it was Cannibal Holocaust and
Or throwing cats over a waterfall over and over and over again.
Grizzly or whatever.
But yeah, it was more that idea that could happen to anyone. So maybe The Conjuring was playing on that idea. Like, well, even the dog could, like, nobody's safe. Like, the demon could get anybody.
True. And maybe it's just me, but I feel like when it's horror, yeah, nobody's safe. Because you're literally waiting to just count down who's left, right? Like, who's going to die first? And so it's like, in horror, it's like, nobody's safe. That's the point. Who's going to be the final person? But then I'm like, animals, that's just innocent. Like, that's just sad. Like, it's one thing if it's like, oh, it's crazy. An entire flock of birds, in a square radius of a mile died. And it's like, ooh, that's crazy. But when you're specifically like, watch this dog get slammed into a freaking drawer. Like, not interested. No, I'm good.
But John, I think it kind of goes back to your point about like providing trigger warnings, because we've talked about horror, not only being cathartic, like you mentioned, but also kind of being a safe space for people. So the fact that there is so many day-to-day horrors that everyone is having to address in their own personal lives or whatever might be going on. You mentioned COVID, when everyone was struggling, our communities still are struggling. So being able to, for those that want to, have those trigger warnings to know, be like, okay, like, I'm going to skip this. Like, I think that's such an important part of having an inclusive and safe space for people, even like you're saying in the digital world.
Yeah, when George Floyd happened, because I live in Minnesota and I live not that far away from where this was all going on, I came up before an episode and I kind of said, like, listen, like, this is impacting everybody. Like, I need to talk about it because it's impacting me, it's impacting my life. And I soapboxed a little bit. It's the last time I did it, because I lost like 30% of my listeners from basically saying,
What?
like, talking about, like, we are people. Like, equality is not political, it's just humanity. Like, you're being a human being. And the number of people that said, he's gone political, like, I can't believe it, like, it was ridiculous. I had a white nationalist email me and call me a bigot because I didn't include white nationalists, because I was excluding bigots, which is like, okay, that's a philosophical paradox that doesn't work. I know you think it does. I know you think you got me. That's not how inclusion works. So, like, and because I still get upset about it. Like, how can people who love horror gatekeep who can like horror? You're telling me that some BIPOC person, some LGBTQ person hasn't experienced 10 times worse horror than a lot of white people out there? Like, you don't understand the horror that some people have seen. So the fact that you say that some segment of the community doesn't get to be a part of it is the paramount hypocrisy. Like, every horror is universal. That's the beauty of horror. Fear is universal. We all feel fear whether we want to accept it or not. That's the beauty of it. that we can all acknowledge that the fear exists, and we can come together knowing the fear is there. But to try and separate people out into boxes, saying like, oh, well, this space isn't for you. Are you human? Because then it is. Like, don't tell people they can't be afraid. Don't tell people that their fears are any less valid. It's absurd to me.
Absolutely. I cannot think of a better way to say it. And unfortunately, sorry, Brian, I'll let you get to your point. Sorry, did you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say, like, I feel like we barely even touched on creepy stuff and, like, the fun. Like, this has just been,
we're
like,
going to have to do this again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, like, a super, like, emotional mental health. Like, this is beyond horror. This is bigger. This is, like, hey, humans, be nice to humans. Like, I don't know. It's just a really cool message.
And this is our time of year, right? Like, it's supposed to be cool. It's like 85 here, which is driving me insane. But the air is supposed to change. We're supposed to start drinking soup and eating cider.
Hell yeah.
And that's what we do here when it is 85.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what some of us do all year round. But, you know, like, this is the best time of year, right? Like, this is that time before all the Christmas decorations are in the stores when we can be kids again. We can
Christmas stuff's already in stores.
Yeah, I know. Costco did it.
No,
I was just at Safeway at the grocery store an hour ago, and they already have like all the Christmas coffees and
Costco
stuff
has
out.
2 full aisles of Christmas decorations right now.
Unbelievable.
Like, I saw people browsing. Like, what? Don't you talk about a war on Christmas? There's a war on Halloween.
For real.
Ridiculous.
We write it down. But to your point, Brian, yeah, like, we could talk to you all night, Jon. Like, thank you so much for joining us. Apologies that this has to be cut a little bit short. We're just going to have you back on another time.
I would love to. Anytime. Just reach out. I'm more than happy to. I can talk about this stuff all day long.
Oh my goodness, yes, so can we. We could do, we were throwing out the idea of maybe a 24-hour podcast sometime in the future, but that's far, far away. But for anyone who would like to learn more about yourself, learn more about CreepyPod, maybe, make sure that they're tuning in for 31 Days of Horror, where can they find y'all?
So you can find Creepy any podcast app. Just type in Creepy because I have terrible SEO, and I thought that'd be a good idea then. It's not. Hopefully, if you Google Creepy, put in Creepy Podcast and it should pop up. Otherwise, creepypod.com. I'm primarily on Instagram at CreepyPod, but also at CreepyPod on Facebook and Twitter, which I haven't been on in 6 years, and Blue Sky and Threads. If I post anywhere, it's usually Instagram or Threads, though.
Beautiful. All right. Well, good luck moving the Ouija board tonight. Don't get into.
It sounds like a euphemism, but I'm gonna take it literally.
I mean, take it for however you want. Okay, you know what? No limits here. I don't judge anyone's life. Okay. No, we are so grateful for you to be on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, and congratulations. You guys are doing great by any metric.
Well, thank you so much.
We just want to be like you.
Yeah, that's right. We want to be like you when we grow up. We want to be like Creepy.
Be careful what you wish for in that one.
We're all having a good time. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you so much again for your time. And for everyone listening, make sure you go check out Creepy. And then after you're done doing that, make sure to go to scaredycast.com to keep up with us because, like Jon mentioned, it is spooky season, so we have a lot of spooky for you, so tune in and we'll see you right here next week for another awesome episode.
Thanks, guys.